Many of the nation's veterans were not exactly happy with Pete Hegseth's bizarre, fat shaming, anti woke dress, anti beard, too, by the way, that he gave to the hundreds of members of the military brass after dragging them out at great taxpayer expense to Quantico on Tuesday. A lot of the words that are coming to me aren't fit to print, said Naveed Shah, a veteran and policy director for Common Defense, a veterans advocacy organization. They said the people in that room who have served for 20, 30 plus years in uniform do not need Pete Hegseth to tell them about warrior ethos. Remember, this guy was a Fox News host. Okay. Now, certainly, addressing the troops could be useful or beneficial, but to call 800 plus generals and senior enlisted advisors from around the world into this room before a government shutdown, it's not just bad optics or strategy. A bad cold could have threatened our entire chain of command. Yeah, think about that. Yeah, Republicans, they love their super spreader events, apparently. I mean, somebody with COVID just could have knocked out pretty much all of our military brass. Look, oh, by the way, also, and I know I'm thinking pretty negatively here, but what about a terror attack? You gather all those people in one place, and I mean, it's not like right-wing terrorism isn't, unheard of in this country. Maybe, yeah. And it's not like the FBI is entirely focused on that. In fact, they're not. They've been pulled off that duty. They have been ordered to help out with Donald Trump's deportation force. And so, yeah, that's where a lot of our FBI is. Either that, or they're hunting down Donald Trump's name in the Epstein files. Got to find his name and redact it, get rid of it, erase it. It's so that we can finally release the files, so that these damn people will get off our back. Our stupid voters, that voted for us. They just keep bugging us about the stupid Epstein files. God, we're gonna have to release something. I know. Once we're done getting rid of Donald Trump's name and maybe adding in a few Democrats, then we can release these Epstein files. Ha ha, that's the plan. Is it? I don't know, probably, knowing them. But anyway, back to the veterans here. Retired Army General Dana Pittard called the speech, quote unquote, insulting and egotistical, and said it was a dangerous, slippery slope to make the address so partisan. Remember, the military is not supposed to be partisan, but under Trump, they absolutely are. Look, Pete Hegseth was not put in this position to make the military more effective. No, he was hired to fight the culture wars. That's the only war that he really wants to fight. Okay? And that's pretty much all he knows now, along with how to mix his own drinks, apparently. Okay? Pickled Pete. All right? Now, Arizona Senator Mark Kelly, a former Navy fighter pilot and astronaut, said, "We have the most lethal military in the world." All of this, parades, the picking up the garbage in the U.S. cities, and the unnecessary meetings that could have been a Zoom call or an email, distracts from the mission, and if anything, makes us less lethal. This is what you get when you install the Saturday morning news guy as Secretary of Defense. He is right, though. We are the most lethal, and I'm not exactly sure that that's something we should be proud of. I mean, defending our country is one thing, of course, right? Going on military excursions for the profits of the oil industry is another. Just saying. But look, Trump's not even doing that, though, at this point. What he's trying to do is aim the lethality of the U.S. military at American citizens. All right? Threatening cities like Portland after putting troops in L.A., Washington, D.C., and Chicago. Okay? And look, he wants us basically used to seeing troops in our cities. Not to defend us, but to try to keep us all in line. I think that's the overall goal here, okay? There's more. Amy McGrath, a former fighter pilot and candidate for U.S. Senate in Kentucky, said he claimed the military needs to return to the male standard in combat jobs of 1990. It's not 1990 anymore. Okay, it's 2025 and things have changed. Technology has advanced. But apparently, old Pete wants us fighting like we were back in the 1950s and 60s. Okay? Now, she added, there has never been a separate male and female standard. When women enter combat roles, one standard was set, and we've been meeting it ever since. You can either do the job or you can't, period. Women have served on the front lines, met every challenge, and proven our mettle overseas and in combat, said Marine veteran Jojo Sweet, National Organizing Director for Veterans Advocacy Group Common Defense. Your new highest male standard for fitness tests doesn't restore readiness. It erases the contribution of thousands of us who have fought, led, and sacrificed alongside our brothers in arms. Look, here's the thing. This entire push by Hegseth is a way to try to push women and minorities out of the military, to create a white-only military for a white-only country. That is the overall goal, I believe. All right? Again, this is white nationalism. Tamara Stevens, former Navy cryptological technician, also criticized Hegseth's push to abandon the use of force standards and rules of engagement that were put in to protect civilians. She said that Hegseth believes that people are joining the military because they want to break things and kill people. I mean, for anyone that's been in the military, he is not qualified to be Secretary of Defense. He's barely qualified to be a host on Fox News. He has no honor. To say that we don't belong in polite society? Maybe he doesn't. There you go. Air Force veteran Gretchen Klingler, Director of Veterans for American Ideas at Human Rights First, said that first Hegseth, then Trump, made it clear that this administration is working towards remaking our military into a politicized force devoid of the democratic ideals that have historically made the United States strong. Then, of course, you have Major General retired Paul Eaton, senior advisor for veterans political advocacy group Vote Vets, saying, at a time when American families, military families included, are struggling with exploding inflation, Pete Hegseth spent millions to fly in all of our generals and admirals to rant about facial hair and brag about how many pull-ups he can do, and have Donald Trump sleepwalk through a list of partisan gripes. These are not serious people. Elect a clown, get a circus. And that's what we have. We have a circus, okay, filled with very, very unserious people. Unfortunately, at the head of a very serious military-industrial complex. I mean, nearly $1 trillion a year goes to the military. We are more well-funded than any other military on the planet. And we've got clowns like Pete Hegseth that are in charge of it. Yikes. That's not good. Now, there is some hope here. A little bit of hope. No one in that room really clapped. There's some light applause at the end, and I think that was just for, to be nice. Courteous, I guess. Look, Trump even encouraged them very awkwardly to do applause. But he wasn't doing applause lines, okay? For the most part, the people that were gathered there had refused to be agitprops, okay? And you got to give them credit for that. And by the way, they also refused to be the menacing spectacle, and I'm talking about the troops during his ridiculous military parades, that they were also refused to be menacing. They showed restraint. Okay, you had a lot of these troops during those parades, right, that were smiling and waving, and it wasn't exactly the show of force that Trump was hoping for, is what I'm saying. Okay, and look, members of the military, by the way, are taught to have amazing restraint. Okay, not like our police officers. Okay, so there's a huge difference between military and police. Look, if you haul off and shoot somebody as a police officer, Republicans will give you a medal. Okay. But if you do that and you're a soldier overseas, well, it's not going to go over well. It normally doesn't. Okay. And so, yes, they have to have that restraint. Okay. These generals, by the way, that were gathered there had said that there was no point. One of them called it a waste of money. More like a press conference than a briefing, than briefing the generals. Another attendee told Politico. Could have been an email or a Zoom call or something. Look, here's the thing, though. The spectacle of all of this was the entire point, which was why it was openly broadcast on Fox News. This was politics, period. The Trump administration is politicizing every single part of the government. Again, they're the ones who complain the most about the politicization of the government, and they're the ones doing it the most. Shocker. And now they're trying to weaponize the military against the American people. And like these generals, I'm hoping that the rest of the people are going to wake up and not stand for it. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.